There's a very bittersweet feeling analyzing this album because it reminds me of a better time in my life. I was probably 15 or 16 when Nevermind came out, and that time period for me was I was a kid, and I'm not a kid anymore, and I was an adult. So there was less responsibility, there was more time, there was just more time to explore and try to figure out who you are, as opposed to now I'm 37 and I kind of know who I am, but there's sometimes not enough time to really explore that. So that saying, "the youth is wasted on the young," really gets in my head sometimes. So when I listen to this again, and this album is just so overplayed for me by now, but I listen to it again with fresh, quote unquote, adult ears, and there was definitely a bittersweet feeling to it because it brought me back to those moments. It brought me back to those moments, and at that point in time was, in a lot of ways, a lot better than this point in time. The only positive thing is that this point in time can be improved, while the past is the past. I can't really do anything about it. So, but it definitely did take me back. It took me back to feelings I had. It took me back to people I knew and people I still know. And it's just one of the more amazing things about music, how it can just transport you back to that time and place, and kind of reminds you who you were. So I will start on track one, the seminal, if that's word even applies. I don't even know. I sometimes say words I don't even know the meaning to. It just sounds good. But the song that started it all, "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I'm trying to remember the first time I heard it, and I think oh God, it might have been during MTV News, back when MTV actually played videos and actually covered music. They had MTV News, and I think it might have been for a bumper or something, some kind of news story, and just even hearing that first riff and not knowing what song it was, it just immediately brought me to attention and immediately made my ears prick up and go, "Whoa, what is that?" It was just that it was catchy and it was powerful, and then when it really kicked into the distortion, it was just like, whoa! It was a punch in the face, and during this time, it was 1991, I guess 1992. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but it was the hair bands they were just about dying, and Metallica's Black Album was out, and I listened to that incessantly. I think Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Chili Peppers was out. I remember AC/DC's Razor's Edge was out around that time, but there seemed to be kind of a void, at least for the newer music, the newer bands to come out, and it was just, I think, more of a right place, right time thing. Everything just lined up, and it started with those riffs, those magical riffs, and I don't even know, at least at the time, what the lyrics were, because they were hard to understand, but it didn't really matter because the feeling was there. Back when this album was released, it was on CD. You couldn't download anything. The internet didn't exist at all. So I still have the CD book. I still have the CDs, and I opened up the book, and the CD booklet didn't have, or doesn't have, any lyrics to it. It's just little snippets of lyrics. So I actually went on a website for the first time, actually sit down and read along to what the lyrics actually were to "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I had no idea on the I had no idea the first verse was ever load up on guns and bring your friends. I had no idea. Would just, when I would sing along to it, I'd just be like blah blah blah, because I didn't know what the what the lyrics were. So I actually followed them from the website, and until now, I had no idea. And I don't know exactly what the lyrics mean, and I really don't know what Cobain is singing about, but it doesn't matter because the power and emotion that he sang with was there. And when I heard this for the first time in ages, because anytime it's on the radio now, I just kind of I tune away because like I said before, this album's just been so overplayed. It's just, why would I, especially this song, why would I bother to listen to it? So so now that I actually sat and listened to it with headphones on, mind you, because I wanted to catch just every little detail, I still think of. The first thing I think of when I hear this song is regret, because during the time this song was released, I was in 10th grade, and just looking back on 10th grade, and it was a pretty good year, but there were so many things I would have done differently, and so many ways I would have acted differently, and so many just missed opportunities, a lot of missed opportunities. So this song especially reminds me of of the things I didn't do. And I know that's a negative way of thinking of it, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. And I'm sure I can change that and go, oh, well, think of the good things you did do, and the good times you did have, and the good friends you did have. But I wouldn't be a complete person without mentioning the negative side to it, because that's life sometimes. It's positive and negative. And by the time the solo comes, it's, first of all, it's a simple song to play on guitar. There's four chords, two notes during the lyrics, and then there's a simple solo, and it doesn't matter because that solo still blows away, and this song will still blow away any technically correct progressive song that's out there. And I'm a fan of progressive music. Some of my favorite bands are progressive bands, but I always think that emotion over technique is going to win. I will digress, and I always use the example of, you can just have a shredder from name any hair band going a million miles an hour, doing sweeps, just over and over and over again, going back and forth, back and forth. And then you can compare that to an E minor chord played by Tony Iommi, and the E minor chord by Tony Iommi will win every time, because it's power and emotion over technique. So I always go for that, whether it's any kind of art form. I would advise someone, make sure the emotion is there. Technique is an excellent thing to have, don't get me wrong, but that emotion is the way to connect to people. And I think that's one of the reasons why this album was so popular, because that power and that emotion connected with people. And in looking at the chorus, I'm guessing that when it says "with the lights out, it's less dangerous," maybe he's meaning the concert. Because when you go to a concert and those lights go out, it's definitely a less dangerous feeling and a more communal feeling. Those are my favorite parts of concerts. I've been to so many concerts, and that moment before the lights go out, and then when the lights actually go out and you hear the roar of the crowd, it's absolutely invigorating. And then when he says, "Here we are now, entertain us," the demand to be entertained, to be distracted from whatever you're going through, to be stimulated, and then he all of a sudden switches, "I feel stupid and contagious." So he's possibly enjoying something good, and then he has the feelings of being awkward and contagious, the feeling that people don't want to be around you, a definite insecurity. And it also reminds me that there always seemed to be a paradox with Nirvana. They, or at least Kurt, he didn't seem, I don't think he minded the comfort that the success gave him, the money, the freedom to express himself creatively, but he did seem to mind the success and the exposure. And the problem is that the success and the exposure brought the money to give him comfort and wealth, and then it just created this vicious cycle that he unfortunately did not get out of. And it's a simple explanation. I know he had severe stomach problems, and that might have been at least some of the reason why he switched to heroin, just to get rid of those awful stomach pains he had. And who knows where the stomach pains came from? It might have been something emotional. Who knows? But it created another vicious cycle in him, where, coupled with depression and who knows what else, that ultimately led to his demise.